it's going to be a fun game. Sold out atmosphere already, and going against one of the best players in the country. So we know we got things we got to improve on. Starts with ourselves, and just gearing up for this big game. So let's go with some questions.
Coach Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. Just walk us through the things you were trying to work on specifically in the bye week to try and prepare for this game the rest of the season.
Yeah, the big thing was just get healthy. We got a bunch of guys that are banged up and shoulders and things like that after the first couple games. So getting back to full force, which is obviously going to be needed for this week. But then it's just getting back to do what we do and paying attention to the small details, right? We kind of talked about that in the past. We do things really well sometimes, but it's not all the time thing. So now it's just a consistency deal, and that was our major focus.
Real quick follow up on that, Coach. Any players you said mentioned getting healthier? Are there any players you're expecting to get back this week?
Still waiting. Waiting for the final. Probably on Thursday, we'll decide on who's potentially could be back. But we got a couple of O linemen that are getting close and things of that nature. So I'll get that info for you later on in the week.
Coach Dreiling, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. Just curious, how much time have you spent game planning for Ashton Genty, watching film on him already?
Yeah, we did 3 practices last week, as well as a practice yesterday. So it's obviously the main focus. He's averaging over 10 yards a carry versus the schedule that they've been playing. That's pretty impressive. So he's the number one back in the country right now. It looks like so he's going to have our full attention, and we know we got to be able to contain him. The problem is. You watch the Washington State game, they fit every single play perfectly, and you rush for 280 yards just off missed tackles. So being able to get this guy down, it's more so about effort to the ball, get as many hats around him. That way, if he does break one, we have somebody there.
I also wanted to ask you, Boise State has 20 sacks on the season. They're averaging 5 a game. What makes their pass rush so effective?
Well, I think they play the run so well. And now teams are forced to throw it, and when you're forced to throw it because you can't run the ball, then you can really tee off. Their front seven is probably as good as it gets in college football on how they play the run and how that transitions to their pass rush. So I think they had 7 sacks last week versus Washington State. So we got to make sure, 1, that we can establish our running game, keep them playing on us, and then 2, when we do throw, we get the ball out on time and don't hold and don't give those guys on the edge time to work on our tackles.
Hey, Coach Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. Hey, can you talk about the use of tablets on the sidelines and how that helps you guys make adjustments during the game?
Yeah, the big thing it does, it used to be getting info from the box, getting info from your players. Players used to be all the time. You'd ask them if they're in a gap, they'd tell you yes, and you find out on Sunday that was not true, right? So you get real-time data very fast and very quickly. So it takes a lot out of it as far as what the coaches do in the box. It's more so how fast you can adjust sitting on the sidelines as you watch the plays. So it's an awesome deal. It does take a little bit away from the game, I think. NFL is just pictures. At college, we get videos. But just something that we're continuing to roll with and helps you adjust live faster.
Coach Jason Walker again. You've had several games where you start fast and then don't finish as strong. Has there been anything you've done during the bye week to kind of address that? Maybe identify what's going on there. Just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, Jason, I think you're spot on. And it's more so just like critical moments. Right now we're just stopping ourselves when it's a big play, whether it's a false start penalty, right, or whether it's just not being in the right spot. You're supposed to be on defense or not doing your technique. So we talked about, 1, just relaxing. Like, listen, we have nothing to lose, guys. We need to make sure we cut it loose out there, have fun, and play with great intensity, because when we're loose and rolling, we're just about as good as anybody in the country, right? You saw opening quarter versus Utah, same thing 2 weeks ago versus Temple. But then when we tighten up, we just play too stressed. So it's just getting the message across that relax, do your job, go have fun, right? And there's no reason to tense up in a big moment. When it's time, you'll come and you'll make your play.
Want to ask as well about, you have a lot of improvements to try to make on defense, obviously. In what ways is Boise State going to test some of those improvements you're trying to make on the defensive side?
Well, the big thing that they do is they stick with their game plan. They have a couple formations they like to attack you at each week, so we won't know exactly what their plan is until about the halfway through the first quarter or so. But they do a good job of trying to scheme you up. So you have to make tough tackles on one of the best tailbacks in the country. So our huge vocal point this week has been collapsing the box, keeping everything in tight quarters. That way, when we are having our one-on-one chance, we have a higher chance of making because it's not a hard tackle, right? We tell our guys all the time here we're about easy tackles, and that starts with alignment, fundamentals, being able to box things in tight circumstances. So when a back-end guy has to make a play, he has a chance to make an easier tackle. So that's what they do. They create long edges. They make your corners make tackles. They make everybody right who more coverage guys make plays on this tailback. So they do hats off to their scheme. Now it's just about us how we can contain him and how we can make things easy on us.
Coach Dreiling, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal again. You've had some struggles kind of containing opposing tight ends the last couple of weeks. Boise State has a veteran tight end who's had some big games this year. What adjustments have you made during the bye week to maybe limit some of those opportunities in the tight end catch game?
Yeah, need our outside linebackers to get hands on those guys. They do a good job. They run a lot of tight end hides, a lot of plays to draw your attention going somewhere else, and then they get a guy sneaking out the backside on a wheel and things of that nature. So a lot of theirs they're just so well timed by the play caller. It puts those guys in position. So we got to make sure our guys up front are getting hands on the tight ends, make sure they don't have any free releases because they do a good job, right? They do a good job getting open, and when they do, they finish and make the plays.
Coach Jason Walker again. You've had some inconsistency, I guess, with the passing game. Sometimes work really well. Sometimes you have some turnovers. Does that tie back to you mentioned about playing stressed or playing tight, or is there something specific to the passing game that's kind of causing that inconsistency?
No, I mean our starting quarterback was out 2.5 weeks, right? And then when he finally gets back, he probably plays his first full game in 2 years. So we just need reps. But I think you're spot on, Jason. When we're clicking the balls out on time, which it needs to be this week, right, and we're getting the ball distributed to our playmakers, we look really good. If we start holding the ball a little bit and forcing throws, right, that's when we play a little bit too robotic, I think, at quarterback, and Spencer will be the first one to admit that. So it's just keeping things on time, keeping him relaxed, just like what you're referring to on critical moments, right? And then just do what the defense gives us.
Hey, Coach Eric Franson, once again, if you could talk about the defense for Boise State. I know a lot of attention is usually on their offense, but this is still a pretty physical defense that's given themselves a lot of chances defensively in their games.
They do a good job with their starting with their D line and their edge guys all the way to their inside backers. So they have a great game plan. They have solid run fits where they fit very fast. And then they win their one-on-ones in the blocking scheme. I think they do a great job on block destruction. That allows them to play with sometimes a lighter box and be able to play more pass coverage stuff on mixed downs. So we're going to have our hands full for sure. I think offense has a good game plan so far, and being able to get Razul rolling is going to be a huge part of this thing. Everyone talks about Boise State tailback like they should, and he's probably the best tailback in the country, but we love ours here too, and we need him to have a big game for us.
Coach, do these next couple of games have a bigger impact on morale? Because obviously it's beginning of conference play, non-conference play mostly over at this point. Just how big are these next few games against Boise State and UNLV?
Yeah, I think confidence is the number one thing. It's hard to have confidence when you're not winning at the level that we need to be winning at right now. So it's how to create that in practice to give our guys a spark. Obviously, the schedule is what it is. We're going to end up playing probably 4 ranked teams in the first 6 games. So I don't know when the last time that happened. But at the end of the day, it's still about us, right? Every single one of our games, other than the SC, we've been up, we've been moving, we've been looking really good. Now it's just finishing, right, and being able to instill that mindset in our players of having, one, the confidence to win, but 2, when it is time, right, to finish and get off the field with a W.